Hello everyone, Happy New Year! I hope you had a wonderful celebration, and if you did not, that's okay as well. My family and I just stayed at home and hung some countdown lights. In this planning routine vlog, you see some of the things we did on New Year's Day. I hope you enjoy the video. My sleep would have been restful if not for the fact I forgot to turn off my alarm. It rang at 6 AM and I had to shut it off before continuing to sleep. Here on our coffee table in the living room is a half-finished Lego cat my husband and daughter have been working on. That's gonna be their activity for the day. And here is a 3D calendar that a friend of ours had gifted us. Every day my daughter is going to tear off a paper to reveal the 3D model. I wonder what's gonna be. There's been some changes to our balcony since my last vlog. We've removed the potted plants and bird feeder so that we could keep it cleaner. The potted plants are all now on our front porch. Eventually, I will be repotting them into a raised planter box. Hopefully, this will make watering them much easier and quicker. Morning breakfast starts off with freshly ground coffee beans. This part of the morning is very therapeutic for me as I love the smell of coffee brewing and the time spent having my breakfast while surfing the internet before starting my day. For breakfast, my daughter and I are having some barbecue pork buns and a cup of warm drink to accompany it. After breakfast, I start the day with filming my planning session in front of the TV. This is a glimpse of my filming setup in case you've been wondering. Before I begin planning in my planner, I'm going to show you quickly what my Hobonichi cousin Avec is like. If you want to see how I set it up, there's a link or the video in the description box below. In that video, I also explain how I'm using the different pages of my Hobonichi planner. Because it's an Avec, I have duplicates of some of the pages and most likely I will be uploading another setup video when it's nearing the middle of the year. Alright, that's it for the flip through, let's begin planning. So I'm going to start from the beginning again. I don't have anything to note on the calendar page just yet, so I'll move on to the calendar index page. Here I'm just gonna start listing some videos that I'm planning to work on for this month. Now that I'm working, I'm planning to take it easy for now, so I'm going to list just 2 videos. I need some time to plan out the schedule, so I'll leave that for later and move on to the next page. The next page is the monthly page where I'm using it to note down my main self-care task for the day. Since it's a holiday today, I'm essentially just going to chill and do whatever I feel like doing. The next page is the weekly pages. Here I have a bunch of habit trackers on the sidebar. For the columns, I'm going to list my to-dos for the day using stickers. In 2024, I found that I didn't use much of these kind of emoji or icon stickers, and I have a lot of them in my binder. I was also not using my weekly pages, so one way to solve both of these problems was to put my to-do in the weekly pages instead of the daily page and using stickers. There might be a problem where I run out of space to list tasks because the stickers are kinda big. So my solution was to pair this with my Google Keep in my phone. It's a simple checklist that I can uncheck and check quickly on a daily basis, and I don't need to retype them. Some of you may wonder, why not just stick to Google Keep then? Well, the app is limited in some ways, like it's not as fun or colorful. You can't really customize much with it. It's practical in an easy, simple and boring way. What's more, I need to have an excuse to use up the stickers. Once that runs out, I'll have the space to list them all here in my planner. Not sure when that might be, but that's the plan. That's all I'm listing here. I'm going to move on to the next page, and that's going to be my goal and monthly task page. Here, I'm just going to check the goals that I'll be working on for the month of January. On the right page, I've already written 2 tasks I want to accomplish within the month, so on to the daily pages. On the January blank page, I'm going to make an entry. This is where I write down highlights for my daughter and myself. Here, I wrote how my daughter had stayed up until midnight for the new year. Normally, she would have been asleep by 9 to 9:30 PM as that is her bedtime. She was more than happy to play Roblox to help her stay awake. I won't work on the daily page just yet as that would take up a lot of time, so I'm moving on to the back pages of the planner first. On the note pages, I made a cleaning log to keep track of the areas around my house that needed to be cleaned. My husband had vacuumed the house the day before, so I'm just going to mark that here so I know it's been taken care of already. The sheet of paper you see here is what I've been using before in 2024. Every time after I write, it takes a while for the ink to dry, so I use this sheet of paper to help blot it dry. Here at my subscriptions page, I'm marking the ones I'm on for the month. The ones dotted in red by the numbers are annual subscriptions, whereas the blue dot is for the renewal date. Next, I'm just checking off one item I had already placed an order for, and that is a 3D memo pad for my office desk. That's all the planning I'm doing for this morning. I'm gonna take a break first, watch some shows on TV before tackling some tasks. I just noticed this unopened Lego set on the shelf and I wondered why wasn't it set up for New Year? Here's a rose my daughter had received a few weeks ago and it's starting to grow some new stems. I think I will trim it down and see how much more it will grow. After some time, I'm upstairs and back in my planner to check off some things. Here, I'm just erasing an entry I made by mistake. Flipping over to my weekly pages, I'm checking off the first task as I'm already working on the filming right now. Next, I'm checking off unloading and loading the dishwasher as I had completed that earlier downstairs. And I'm checking off the next task as well, which was putting away folded clothes. Oh, I decided to check off the planning task as well because I'm basically going to do that throughout the day. I'm gonna get ready to work on my daily page, but first I think I will check downstairs on what's going on. My husband and daughter had decided to continue on building the Lego cat. It looks like it might take a while still. I started to feel hungry, so I figured I should probably have my lunch first before tackling the daily page. Now that I've had my fill and full of energy, I'm going to start. I decided for the new year I'm going to draw something. The last quarter of 2024, I was feeling pretty lazy and had stopped drawing. Hopefully starting off the new year with a drawing will bring back some motivation to draw again. For this day's daily page, I decided to draw the girl on the cover of the book I'm reading, which is A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle L. Jensen. Because it's been a while since I've drawn, I was a little rusty, my hand movements weren't as fluid, and I had to erase a lot of times to redraw the features until I was satisfied. I knew it wasn't going to be exactly like the girl on the cover, but at least she had to look good. That's always my goal when it comes to drawing. It doesn't have to look the same, but at least it has to look good until I'm satisfied with it. The hand was another thing I was struggling with, and because it was small, it was even more challenging because the tip of my pencil was blunt. I probably should have sharpened it before starting, but I was already recording and, well, I think maybe sometime later I did sharpen my pencil? I'm not sure. As time goes by, you'll see the number of times I kept fixing the hand and the arm. It always looked wrong, like the hand looks squished, or it doesn't look like the wrist joint should be there, or the angle of the arm is wrong, making it look like she has unnaturally long arm. The next challenge was drawing lines for where her boob was going to be underneath the dress. The right shoulder was dropping at an angle, so her boob wouldn't be that shapely. After a while, I think I just settled on with what looked right and continued on. Luckily, I only have to draw lines for one side of her chest. The other one was basically hidden behind her arm, which I had fixed again, and that was that. The next challenge was drawing her hair. It was kinda fanned out all around behind her, and I wasn't sure how to go about it. I think I decided to just draw some curvy lines and later color it with different shades of color to bring out more strands of her hair. And this is when I thought to myself, I really need to sharpen my pencil because it was surprisingly difficult to draw the pattern on her dress. You can't really tell in this video, but it didn't look neat at all. And now I'm moving on to tracing out the lines with my pen. I'm using the Pilot G2 0.7 pen, and this is my favorite pen and I don't use any other brand. This is going to take a while, so I'll let you enjoy this process until there's something to comment on. My pen was starting to run out of ink, but there wasn't much left to trace, so I pressed my way until finish. Later, I'll remember to draw out the pattern of a dress. Here, I'm testing out some colors to find the right match before starting the coloring process. It's sometimes hard to tell unless I make a swatch of it and compare it to the image, and because I don't have a very big range of color pencils, I make do with the closest one. Here you see me drawing the pattern out. I made a mistake with the pattern, but I didn't want to erase it because it was so small, so I just did my best to fix it. I was about to start coloring when I realized I probably should erase some of the visible pencil markings. I could probably color over them, but some colors are too light, it would still show. So I quickly erased some visible ones before starting my coloring. I'm going to simply color in the main color of a dress, making sure I don't press too hard because that would make the line strokes visible. Now I'm using the darker shade to color in the shadows of her dress folds. I try to refer to the book cover, but sometimes it's hard to tell because the letterings on the cover block my view of her dress. So when I'm not sure, I just go with coloring along the lines I've already drawn and maybe around her arm because surely her arm would cast some shadows. For skin tone, I don't have many color pencils to choose from, so I use this light one. The problem with using the lighter colors is if it ever touches the ink from the pen, it would smudge, and it happened here. And once it happens and you try to use the tip again, it would smudge onto other areas, which is annoying, so I had to use my whiteout to erase it, but coloring on the whiteout is impossible. If I press too hard, the whiteout would get chipped off, so best tip is not to make the smudge at all and color away from the ink lines. Here I'm using the darker shade to color the contours of her flesh. It's not very visible in the video, but when I see it on the planner, it is. So I was satisfied with the amount of shadowing I did here. Now coloring her hair. I knew I might not be able to get the effect I want, but I decided to start with using the darkest shade for her hair to bring out the brown tones of her hair. I colored along the lines and did some strokes for the hair strand in the middle. Later, you'll see I added another shade of color to her hair. For the eyes, I couldn't tell what color was her eyes on the cover. The author might have mentioned her eyes in the book, but I forgot what it was. I simply used a gold ink pen for it. After I'm done coloring, what I like to do for all of my drawings is to outline with my pen so that it pops out more from the page. And then to soften the look, I add a pencil outline to complete the effect. To finish setting up my page, I'm going to line the top and bottom with this washi tape that has a little bit of the Nordic sort of pattern. I'm also going to write down a reference at the bottom so that next time I visit the page, I can tell where it's from. That's the one thing I find myself having trouble recalling in 2024, so writing this down will help. After that session, I went back down to check on my family's progress. My daughter had left some time ago because there was an error and my husband was trying to rectify it. After that, I sat down with my husband to watch one episode of Squid Game. When that was over, I went up to start editing my video while watching a YouTube video. Later after that, I did some workout for about 20 minutes. It's time for some planning session. On my social media page here, I'm just going to write out my schedule of what I'm planning to do for the next few days. It's basically the filming and editing for now. Next, on my weekly page, I'm going to mark that I did some cardio workout for today on my habit tracker, as well as on my to-do checklist. Moving on to my daily page, you see that I took a yellow color pencil to color that into her hair, as that was missing from the coloring session just now. And then I took the same color as her dress to color around her so that she stands out a little bit more. It's almost dinner time and it looks like they are almost done with the cat. The only thing left was the tail. I had also clipped off the top stem of the rose, leaving behind the bottom part where the new stems are growing. Let's see how well it does like this. Dinner is a mix of stuff and I'm going to watch a show while eating my food. It's at night and I've already taken my shower and rested a bit. Now for some planning session again. There isn't anything I want to check off, so I'm going to move on to my daily page to do some journaling. The best time to journal for me is usually early in the night rather than later because I can't do much when I'm sleepy. I need to be reasonably alert to recall what had happened for the day so that I can journal about it. So the first paragraph was about me remarking about the new year and what we did. The second paragraph was about how I had received good news about my health a few days ago, and it was a good way to start the new year on a positive note. Without getting into too much detail, I had gone for my first mammogram and I was very anxious and nervous about it. I'm just glad everything was okay. My third paragraph, I wrote about the book I was reading, which was A Fate Inked in Blood. I'm really liking it so far. I'm just about 15% in at this time and I could really tell I like the style of writing. And then finally, I wrote about the second season of Squid Game my husband and I are watching. We're just one more episode away from the ending and I'm not sure if I like it more than the first season. By this time I can tell you that it's still a good show and it's hard to compare because the story developed differently. Can't wait for the next season. It's my daughter's bedtime and my husband is reading her The Wizard of Oz book because my daughter had watched Wicked but didn't know the classic story. After she had gone to bed, we watched the final episode of Squid Game. I really wish the story had progressed a little bit more before it had ended the way it did. Now back to the final planning session for the day. I'm going to check off anything that needs to be checked on my weekly page. For my mood tracker, I've decided that gold will represent good mood and blue will be for middle and red will be for bad. And then next, I'm gonna start listing and planning my task for the next day. I think it's best if I do this the night before the actual day because if it's a weekday, I will definitely not have time to do it in the morning because I have to go to work, prepare breakfast, drop off my daughter at school, stuff like that. So the night before the actual day is the best. So that's going to be my new planning routine for 2025, what with my new job and all that. I'm liking the way the weekly pages are turning up with the stickers. I hope you like this video. If you do give me a thumbs up. If you want to watch more of my videos, do subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell. I'll see you next time in my next video. Bye!